Hello, my friends. I am so excited to share something that I've been building for over a year. Many of you have heard me mention the weekly Health RX by Arvasi. So let me tell you a little bit more about what it is and why I built it with my co-founder, Dr. Thanmeet Sethi, who is an integrative medicine physician and one of the most brilliant clinicians that I know. She also happens to be one of my closest friends. Now, both of us are physicians who practice integrative medicine and what we call modern Ayurveda. And the two of us built the weekly Health RX because we were so tired of watching women in midlife trying to do everything that they could do to feel better and still not feel like themselves. And so this is our answer. This is how we are helping to end the guessing game for women in midlife. The weekly Health RX is like having a doctor in your pocket, a physician in your pocket. It's a weekly audio prescription for women in perimenopause and menopause that is physician-led and evidence and science-backed, built around your biology, your dosha, your mind-body constitution. Because generic advice doesn't work. Personalized prescriptions, they work. Earlier this year over at the Weekly Health RX, Thanmeet and I did a 5-week series on focus, on the word loss, the scatter, the attention that used to be reliable and suddenly isn't. This clip is from the very first episode of this series, where we walk you through the biology underneath what's actually happening to your focus in perimenopause and the piece of the story that nobody's talking about. Here's a small piece from the episode. As women in midlife, we often think that this is all just age-related, right? That it's like a failure that we can't think clearly or that we feel foggy. And again, foggy is different for all of us based on our dosha. But there is science behind what's actually happening. And it's not aging, but it's more a perimenopausal, menopausal sort of hormonal thing, which we want to talk about.
I mean, here's what we know, right? We know that in perimenopause, cognitive decline is not just about aging. It's about not only that and estrogen going down, but also about losing some what we would call nervous system flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing, estrogen is like brain fuel, and it supports our neurotransmitters that help us remember things and stay attentive, things like acetylcholine. It supports mitochondrial function in our neurons so that we can actually make enough energy in our brain cells. And it acts as an anti-inflammatory in the brain, protecting our brain cells from oxidative stress. So when those are fluctuating, when our estrogen levels are fluctuating and declining during perimenopause and midlife, the brain's just running on less of everything.
Mm-hmm. And so it obviously can't think clearly or function clearly because it doesn't have enough of what it needs to run properly. And, the data here is actually pretty striking. There's a study that was done by the Seattle Midlife Women's Health Study is what it's called. And it found that 60% of women aged between 33 and 55 self-reported unfavorable memory changes during midlife. 60%, right? But there's a lot of different reasons for this. And so the point here is that this is not a rare thing. There are a lot of women who are feeling like they have this sort of brain fog or fuzziness, or they can't think clearly. That is not something that just, you are feeling or I am feeling. It's pretty widespread.
Right. And I mean, I think it's somewhat reassuring that the science supports what these subjective findings are, because if you look at research, we know that estrogen directly improves mitochondrial function in neurons. So that's where we get our ATP or energy production. And that then when estrogen declines, so does the energy of our brain cells. It declines with it. And we know that the cholinergic neurons, remember I talked about acetylcholine, that neurotransmitters, we know that those neurons that produce acetylcholine for memory and attention, they have estrogen receptors. And when estrogen drops, then the ability for acetylcholine, those cholinergic receptors and memory drops. And we feel it in our word retrieval and our ability to have attention. I mean, these are ways that our biology is not, I don't like when I hear that our biology is working against us.
Sure.
I think more about how we are not aware of our biology. And so then we're blaming ourselves as if we did something wrong.
Right. And it's just shifting. I mean,
Right.
literally it's shifting, right? But then under that hormonal shift that you just talked about, there's another mechanism, and it's this nervous system flexibility
Right.
that we're talking about, where our nervous system, as we go into midlife, has already lowered its flexibility. Like it's lost some of its flexibility. So you've got that hormonal change and then this loss of flexibility.
Right.
No wonder we feel like we can't find our words, or we're forgetting what we came into the room for, or whatever it is, right? Because a healthy nervous system, and maybe we need to explain what we mean by nervous system flexibility. Yeah. A healthy nervous system will basically dial up when you need to focus, or if there's a challenge, or you need to get away from a tiger, right?
Right.
But then it will dial down when you need to rest and digest and to recover. And that's the flexibility, that it can go up and down. But perimenopause and midlife disrupts this flexibility, the capacity for this flexibility.
It's
and
super important.
Right?
I feel like nobody's talking about that. We're all talking about the science that I just explained around estrogen, but we're not talking about how that's even more amplified with our nervous system losing flexibility, and how to regain that flexibility so that we can work with our biology.
Right. And because, also the point here is that if you don't have a flexible nervous system, the body can't actually heal itself. So even if you're doing things to deal with a symptom like memory or brain fog, right? You can keep doing these things and you'll have some success. But the reason that so many of us feel like we're failing at whatever strategies we're doing is because we haven't addressed the nervous system flexibility that lies underneath the symptom that's showing up.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And I mean, that's where I think Ayurveda is so powerful, because the science has known this for thousands of years.
So that's a small taste of week 1 of the Focus series on the Weekly Health RX. In the rest of the episode, we tell you exactly which direction your nervous system has lost its flexibility based on your dosha, and what to actually notice that will then become the clinical input for the prescription that follows. Because what heals one constitution can be the wrong tool for another. What helps one person can be exactly what makes another person feel worse. You can find the whole Focus series up on our Substack, where you can go back and listen anytime. Next, we're moving into a series on food as medicine. Come find us at theweeklyrx.substack.com. It's free to start, and the link is in the show notes. Finally, medicine that fits you. Until next time, be well.